Hi, welcome to part 3 of our energy protection series. We are Corey, Peyton, and myself, Yaila. The first two videos, if you haven't watched them, the first one we covered what is energy protection. The second one was how do you do it? And this third one is how do you know it's actually working? So, Peyton, let's start with you. How do you know your energy protection tools are working?
This is such a great topic. I don't know if I have ever seen a video where somebody talked about this. So I'm really glad that we are doing kind of a deep dive into energy protection, because if you guys caught the January energy report, we are going to need our energy protection more in January than we have for a while. So just a refresher in case you missed our first two videos in this series, what are we talking about when we talk about energy protection? This is something that the three of us talk about a lot. We are big advocates of it, as you can probably tell. And what we're talking about when we mention energy protection is a simple set of tools. And often these will look like a visualization or a meditation that you can do in a couple minutes a day that protect your energy field, your aura, as you go about your daily business. Because we are constantly exchanging information and energy with each other, and we are losing energy and picking up things that don't belong to us. So energy protection is a way to keep your energy in and everyone else's energy out of your field. Because as we talked about in the earlier videos, the more we accumulate energy in our energy field that doesn't belong to us, it starts to really be uncomfortable. So one of our goals as people on their spiritual path is to keep our energy field as clean as possible. So we talked in our last video about this is something that is important to do every day. And it's just a simple little process you can do in 5 or 10 minutes that will really help you feel much better in your skin, in your energy for the entire day. So today we wanted to talk about how do you know it's working? Because one of the things that I noticed when I was first starting to learn these energy protection tools is that I couldn't really feel anything when I did them. And one of the reasons for this is because a lot of us, when we are just learning energy tools for the first time, and especially if we are newer to our spiritual journey, a lot of times we start from a place where we have a lot of resistance in our energy field. And what happens then is it's harder for us to tell what is really our energy and what is energy we have picked up from other people. So when you first start to use the energy protection tools that we have been talking about over these past couple of videos, you might not feel anything at first. I know that it took me a couple months of using these tools every day before I could really start to viscerally feel that they were doing something. So one thing that I always encourage my clients is at the beginning, when you are first starting to do this, just trust that the tools are working. So if you are using them, they are working, even if you can't feel anything in your body. Because I know for me, it took me a couple months before I could actually feel when I used my tools versus when I didn't use my tools. So I always encourage people, give yourself a little bit of time to really get comfortable with these tools and just know that they are working if you are using them, because it's very common at the beginning for a lot of people to not physically feel them. So I always encourage you, just trust that they are. Now, as you use these tools over time, if you make this part of your daily practice, which the three of us always encourage people to use these tools on a daily basis, what happens is you will start to notice in your physical body that you feel very different on the days that you used your energy protection tools and on the days that you forget to use them. Now, one of the ways that this shows up for me a lot is if I forget to do my energy protection tools in the morning, and say I get out in traffic and I'm, going into stores where there are a lot of people and mixing around with a lot of different people, different energies, I start to feel very drained. I start to notice that this energy or feeling of anxiety starts to come over me. And that's always a sign to me that I have forgotten to protect my energy. Because even if I started out the day in a perfectly comfortable, fine mood, I notice after a couple hours of having an unprotected energy field that I'm starting to pick up the way the people around me are feeling. So a great way to notice your energy protection tools is when you are around people who are stressed out. So get in rush hour traffic without your energy protection tools, and you will know whether you have remembered to use them or not. Because again, if we are not protecting our energy field, and as we talked about before, there are tons of different ways to do this. So find a tool that feels good to you, something that you will use, because on those days that you forget, you will feel it in your body. So a great way to test to see if your tools are working is just pick a day and intentionally don't use them. And then just notice as you go about the first couple hours of your day, do you see a difference in how you physically feel? Because for me, I will notice my anxiety creeps up a little bit. Some aggravation might start to creep in. I feel much more tired at the end of the day if I'm not protecting my energy. And so these are always signs to me that I've forgotten to use my energy tools. So this is proving to you that your tools are working, because you will feel different on those days where you protect your energy than you do on days where you forget. And something else that's always good to know about energy protection tools, they get stronger over time. Because as you use these, as you make these part of your daily routine, you start to build a trust in them, a confidence in them, where you have no doubt that your tools are working and they start to get even stronger. So for me, the way you know if your energy tools are working is the feedback you get from your body. How do you feel at the end of the day on those days where you used your energy protection versus those days that you didn't? For me, it tends to be a very easy to evaluate feeling in my physical body. And the three of us talk about listen to your body. It's one of the things we say all the time. Your energy tools will be one way that your body communicates to you how well you are protecting your energy field. So that's what I would say about how to know if your tools are working or not. And I always say, if you use them, they are working. It just takes a little bit of time to build up your trust in them. So Corey, how do you know your tools are working?
Wow, that was wonderful, Peyton. That was really wonderful. I love how we have these conversations because we all give our different perspectives and our different experiences. And yet we all end up in the same place, really. And that goes to show you that when you know that your energy tools are working, doesn't mean that you have to do it a specific way. There are lots of tools out there that you can use for energy protection. And one of the ways that I used energy protection before I started learning all these energy tools was wearing the color that felt most comfortable to me. Like turquoise is my token color, and I love turquoise, but I always felt happy and safe in that color. However, when I first came and started, came to classes and started using, learning energy protection, and that was really the reason why, one of the big reasons why I started on this journey and getting training and going to classes and learning energy tools, was because when they said energy protection tools, I was like, I'm in. Because when I came in to class, I mean, I was out of my body. I had so much anxiety. And I knew I was feeling a lot of energy, but I did not know that energy is either ours or not ours. I just knew that I was feeling a lot of stuff. So when I first started learning energy protection tools, for me, I felt it right away. From the first time that I learned an energy protection tool, I felt completely different. So I went from high anxiety, nervousness, almost kind of paranoia, PTSD, to feeling really calm, really, really calm. Because one of the things that we do when we do our energy protection, at least I know us three ladies do, is we get rid of the energy that's not ours. We just trust that when we do it, and we intend for all the energy that's not ours to just be released. Immediately, for me, I immediately felt a difference. And then to put up the energy tools from the time that I had those energy tools up and drove home, I felt so calm. I felt happy. And I knew that my energy, and I actually had to drive on a freeway, and I felt completely different. So for me, I felt it right away. Now, I was doing it every day, and there was a day that came that I didn't do my energy protection. I got up, I was running late, I had to run out the door, and suddenly that anxiousness came back up. And so when I didn't do it, and I'd forgotten to do it that day, suddenly all that anxiousness came right back up. And I was like, what? Wait, what's going on? And then I realized, I didn't put my energy protection up. So one way that you know that your energy protection tools are working is that you feel calm in any situation that you're in. Because for me and my daughter, it didn't matter where we were. We were feeling everybody's energy. And it brought on anxiety, PTSD, because it got to that point where we had taken on so much energy that was happening. And so that peace and that calmness was completely the opposite. And so I knew right away, it's working. The second way to know that it's working is that when you feel more grounded. So when you know your energy protection tools are working, when you feel more solid, not flighty. I know I can focus better when I have my energy protection tools up. And it's amazing that my clients and students that I teach, that after putting up energy protection tools, they're much more focused. They can concentrate. So you know that your energy protection tools are working when you feel more grounded, more focused in your body and in your mind. So the other way, which is somewhat similar, but the other way that you know your energy protection tools are working is when nothing bothers you. The things that used to really bother you, like we were talking about, Peyton was talking about, and we all were talking about our January energy update, where the energies are going to be really intense. And so when you know your energy tools are working is when all that intensity comes in, and maybe somebody's not being very nice, or, a car cuts you off, on the freeway or on the road, or even you're in a place that's really loud. it doesn't affect you. You don't have the same reactions as you used to. It's as if you come from that observer place and you're just observing what's going on around you. So you know that your energy tools, energy protection tools are working when you can be in a place of just observation and not feeling what's going on around you. For me, it was a life changer and a lifesaver because I do the energy protection tools every day. And when I don't, I know it right away, because suddenly I can see everything around me. I can't focus, and that anxiety comes back. And I know right away that I forgot to do my energy protection tools. But it does take practice. It takes practice to become a habit. And after a while, you get so used to your energy being protected and not allowing anybody else's energy into your space that you know right away when you've forgotten to do it. And you don't like the feeling. I know for me, I don't like the feeling at all. And I notice it right away. But that has taken practice by doing it every day, and feeling that peace of mind, that comfort, being in the observation mode and not feeling anxious. So that's what I've got on energy protection. How you know it's working. How about you, Yaila?
I resonate so much with what you both shared, and obviously similar journeys, similar experiences. I would say when I first started just learning that my energy is separate than other people's energy, like what I could feel in my space wasn't always just me or my energy. That was a huge shift for me. And I started to learn with the energy protection tools, I was able to discern what actually was my energy and what was other energy, whether it belonged to other people or the situation I was walking in. And so when I think about how do I know that my energy protection tools are working, there's a bunch of different things. And, very similar to Corey and Peyton, one, my discernment of being able just to understand, is this my responsibility or is this somebody else's energy I can let out of my space, was a huge one. When my tools are working, I'm able to identify, oh, that's not my energy. Oh, this is where so-and-so is at. I didn't start to buy into other people's stories. So that would be another really big one, is I don't get pulled into other people's energy or story and start to make it my own. We have a video on matching energy where, you can start to, it's almost like that hive mind when you collect into, or you pull into like the collective energy of other people and you start to actually embody that yourself. When my protection tools are working, I get to stay neutral, like Corey was saying, staying in that observer perspective. And I don't have to buy into things that aren't my truth. And I feel very thankful having the energy protection tools, especially through the last couple of years of what we all went through just on the planet. And that was something that, looking back in hindsight, knowing that my energy protection tools are working, it's because I didn't get pulled into the fear, the drama, the story. I was one of the fortunate people who, my life actually up-leveled a few notches, and I put all of that to the energy work. And energy protection tools is one of those really strong indicators for me that my tools are working, because I am in more of a flow state. I'm actually embodying my truth, my true essence. And then when I first learned the tools, kind of similar at first, the tools were so powerful for me because it was the first time in my life that I learned to keep other people's energy out of my space. And I felt it right away. There were things in my life that I didn't necessarily understand that the tools were working until hindsight, just like the last couple years on Earth with all of the things going on. So, you know, it was more in hindsight that I realized just how well my tools are working. So I would say it's kind of both. You know, some of the things you'll feel right away, where I feel more calm, I feel more centered, I feel more grounded, more focused. I'm able to have discernment, my energy versus other people's energy. I'm just in more of a flow state. Things just seem to fall into place a lot easier. I don't get pulled into stories. I don't get pulled into the drama, trauma situations. And, you know, I'm someone who, before I learned the tools, I wouldn't necessarily call myself an anxious person, but I do, when I forget to use my tools, I notice that I am more anxious. I notice that I am a little bit more snappy or frustrated, or, you know, even sad, because I'm picking up some of these other energies around me. And so you'll just notice that you feel more like yourself. You'll feel less off when your tools are working. And sometimes that shows up immediately. And sometimes it might show up in hindsight, like, oh, wow, thank goodness I've been doing these energy protection tools, because looking back, I feel like I'm riding the wave versus getting tumbled within it. So that would just be kind of my quick and you know, streamlined way of saying, because I just don't want to beat a dead horse, because the ladies, you know, described so well of how the energy protection tools worked for them. So that's my 2 cents on when I know my energy protection tools are working. Oh, still me. So ladies, do you have anything else you want to add? I forgot I was the host for a second. All right. Well, we hope this video was helpful for you, and this whole series on energy protection. On that note, if you would like to work with any of us one-on-one to help you build your skills with energy protection, we have various options. So do feel free to reach out to any one of us, and we can help guide you and support you with that. And we appreciate your likes, your shares, your comments, and we will see you next week for another video. Thank you so much.